welcome to yet another episode of the Economic Times Cutting Chai Stories, a series of conversations with managing directors and CEOs over chai or coffee, if that's your preference, brought to you by Kyndryl. The urgency and pressure on business leaders as they navigate the COVID-19 pandemic has been immense, to say the least. These business leaders have been constantly monitoring myriad ways to ensure that their respective companies stay on course in the new normal. The incredible demands placed on them makes us often wonder how they have time for family, hobbies, or any downtime at a personal level. And let's not forget that they are mere mortals. This initiative by ET Edge is aimed at creating a deeper connection with them and to get a sense of what managing directors and CEOs of several prominent companies do when they are not in business mode. Today, it's my pleasure to host Dr. Om Prakash Manchanda, Managing Director, Dr. Lal PathLabs Limited. Dr. Manchanda, welcome to the Economic Times Cutting Chai Stories.
Thank you, Ivan. Thank you for having me on this show.
Our pleasure entirely, Dr. Manchanda. Dr. Manchanda, you have transformed Dr. Lal PathLabs Limited from a family-run small enterprise into India's largest diagnostics company, now a professionally run listed company. Can you please share your journey with Dr. Lal PathLabs and touch upon your professional journey before that too?
Yeah, it's a very interesting sort of a part of my career. I've completed nearly 31 years of my corporate career, and more than half of it has been with Dr. Lal PathLabs. Prior to this company, I had worked for Hindustan Unilever, worked for Monsanto and Ranbaxy, and I joined this company in 2005. So my entry into this organization happened consequent to a private equity or venture fund investing into this company in 2005.
Okay.
So I came along with that investment where the idea was to hire a professional who can scale this organization. And at that time, the company used to be a small family-run business in Delhi, and it's about 43 odd crore of turnover in 2005. Then we started expanding this business. I think the first change that I was able to bring to this organization was to really build a corporate structure, which is what actually I was familiar with. So we built a team, typically the way any large organization would have, and align the entire strategy and structure to really grow this business aggressively. I think the second part of this journey has been really give this industry a consumer-facing look. So far, that time it used to be a B2B kind of business, which was a back-end business. Doctors would prescribe the test, and then you just go to a lab. But I think from my background in consumer products, and I just brought in that consumer-facing part of the business, built this brand, we changed the logo, color schemes, etc., and started building a network of collection centers. And if I were to sum it up, actually build this very strong pathology brand built on service side of business. Of course, the quality was always there with Dr. Lal PathLabs. It was a brand which was known for its quality, accuracy of report. But I think the one big change that happened with that transition from a venture fund and professionals coming into this company, we made this a consumer-facing brand. And we have never looked back since then. We've been through many rounds of funding. First with the earlier venture fund, then we had another private equity coming in 2010. And in 2015, we got listed. It's been about 6 years since we got listed. And and I remember, I think the first round of entry of VC fund was just about $20 odd million valuation. Today, we are trading at nearly about 4 billion market cap. So it's been a great journey in the last 16 years, and we have built in the process India's largest diagnostic company. It just doesn't stop here. We have recently acquired a very marquee sort of a company in Mumbai, and we are expanding our footprint across the country. And that's been, in summary, my journey with Dr. Lal PathLabs.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Thanks for summarizing and recapping your journey. I think it's a wonderful journey, and well done. What I'm going to do is take you down memory lane, Dr. Manchanda. Let's rewind a little. If you were to go back to the early years of your childhood, school, or later college, were there any positive influences or incidents that shaped your foundation in those formative years, and could you share them with us, please?
Thank you for asking me this question. I think it's that reflection of mine actually is not really, I haven't spoken much about that, but I think that's an interesting part of my life as well. I come from a very small village background, and I studied in a Hindi medium school from Haryana government in a village called Nagina in a district which is the most backward district of India as per Niti Aayog list.
Okay.
The name of the district is Mewat district in Haryana. So I did my schooling from that village school till the age of 15. I did my 10th from there. Then from there, I went on to join Agricultural University in Hisar, which is also in Haryana. So I think it's the life from that village going to that small town like Hisar was a big change for me. It was like my careers or my actually life started fresh from there, because in village I didn't know much about what was happening in the world.
Right.
But then I ended up joining a veterinary college there. I am actually by training a veterinary doctor. That's why people address me as doctor. So from then on, while doing my veterinary sciences, I realized that there are many more opportunities one can explore. And during those times, competitive exams like civil services or probationary officers in bank and CAT examinations for management. And I tried virtually all of them, and I was lucky enough to get through admission in IIM Ahmedabad. So I ended up doing my MBA in IIM Ahmedabad.
Wow. Okay.
Then 2 years I was in IIM, and then I was again lucky enough to be recruited by Hindustan Unilever, so which was again a big change. So if you look at the entire journey of my childhood from that small little village school in Haryana, we ended up in IIM Ahmedabad, then I worked for Hindustan Lever. It was a big sort of change. So it's been a fascinating sort of my childhood days, and it's been a I really love narrating this story of mine as to how my early childhood to where I am right now. It's been a fascinating. I think your question also asked.
So what was really any positive influences? Anybody, people in your life at that time who shaped that foundation of yours?
Yes, I think in this entire story of mine, there are 2-3 people really stand out, and I think 2 people who really stand out are my parents. They've had they came from, which is now Pakistan. During partition, they migrated to India, and that was one of the reasons why they settled down at a small village. And my father was 28 years of age when the partition took place. He lost his entire family, his wife, his 2 kids during this migration process, and then he settled down again. It was his second marriage, and I'm the youngest in the family, so I had that advantage, because that struggle which my brothers and my father, my sisters, they all had been through from 1947 till the time I was born. I think that journey really has had profound impact on me, saying that life is made up of all these struggles, so one should really take as it comes. Persevere it, and just keep doing your work, and rest, I think, is not too much in your control. I just keep putting your hard work, and rest, it'll fall in place. I think that's one influence I've had on my entire life, is that just stay true to your work, keep doing hard work, persevere, and don't worry about the results. I think everything would be fine.
It's a philosophy. It's a philosophy, sorry to interrupt you, that is very close to my heart too, Dr. Manchanda. It's the Bhagavad Gita philosophy of, the advice given by Bhagwan Krishna to Arjun when there was a conflict, and it's about doing your duty.
Yes.
Don't worry about the results.
I think then probably on the way, then my father actually didn't know any other language other than Urdu, right? So he and they didn't even know actually what I was doing. But I think he kept telling me, "Don't worry, if you want to study, I'm earning and I'll support your financial needs, but you just keep doing hard work." I think that itself really motivated me.
Sure.
And on the way, then I met a lot of people, and career advice kept coming from many people on the way, and many of them were strangers as well. I think it's been one step led to another, and that's how I've lived my life so far.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Thanks for recapping your journey for us. Very inspiring. My next question, Dr. Manchanda. Pandemic or no pandemic, leaders such as you are often asked as to how they are taking care of the organization, the teams, how you're nurturing them, how you're helping them grow, etc., etc. Very seldom are leaders such as you asked as to how you are taking care of yourself. So my question to you is, how have you managed to take care of yourself over the past 18 months? Because it's been a tough time. Let's not, put that away. So how have you managed to take care of yourself, anticipate things, motivate yourself on a day-to-day basis, keep yourself energized?
Yeah, I think 18 months have been very, very tough for all of us globally and in India as well. And particularly for us, we have been actually in the line of fire because of kind of business we are in. We do testing for COVID. And while it was lockdown for everybody else and work from home for everyone else, but not for us. We actually have been working right through these 18 months.
Right.
And maybe a few weeks when the lockdown was there, and a couple of weeks when in April, when the wave 2 happened, I think most of these 18 months, we've all been working from office, and our labs have been operational 24/7. So it's been a different experience. I've actually made a lot of notes as well while I was going through these tough times, and at some day probably I'll write down when I look back on Corona Diaries. I think 2 or 3 things really helped me manage myself. One is to really focus on the larger goal. And I did realize that many of us are caught up in financials and managing P&Ls of the company. I think this is the first time probably a realization hit me that we all work for a larger goal and larger purpose. And we have multiple stakeholders as we sit on this chair. One is, of course, our investors, shareholders, customers, but I think the largest goal has to be society.
Yes.
And I actually did feel honestly that the purpose of my life at a personal level, as well as also for the entire organization, is to focus on that goal, which is much larger on the society. And we got this opportunity to serve our patients and society. I think that really kept me going. And that brought a lot of energy in me, saying that just be at it. It's an opportunity for us to serve the society.
Right.
And during this period, actually, I also had COVID myself, while a lot of people were reaching out to me for all kinds of help, while they don't know that I was also going through this difficult time personally as well. So, but I think this entire focus on larger goal and really kept me moving in these times.
Amazing. Yeah. COVID was a big leveler. I mean, this was the first time. Didn't matter what your background was, what level or hierarchy in the organization you were at. It was a great leveler which allowed one to empathize with someone else, not just in the organization, but like you said, in society as a whole. And that was something that was, it's a great positive if you were to say so, when we look back at the past 18 months, while it has been tough.
Yes.
My next question to you, you're a leader in your own right, that goes without saying. So my question is, because there would be a lot of people, potential leaders going into leadership positions for the first time, who would be watching this video when it is out, What advice would you give someone going into a leadership position for the first time?
I think I have only one probably advice, which is it's a corner office. You are actually all by yourself. It's a lonely position. One must develop a habit of holding a mirror in front of you. Because at times you will never actually get a feedback about your behavior, the impact it has on people. I personally would advise them to really observe oneself, talk to self, and see how they are carrying themselves in the organization outside, and what impact their own behaviors is having on people. I think that's one thing I would say, that please hold a mirror in your hand.
Amazing. Amazing. And I know that you're not saying this because it sounds, nice. I know that from the way my interaction is going with you, I know that you would have done that several times in your professional journey too, to get a sense check of where am I as a leader, what is working for me, what isn't. And I think that comes from the experience that you have. Wonderful.
Absolutely.
Let me ask you a question, which is probably on the other side of leadership. You would have seen leaders across industries within your organization, across sectors. What is the one behavior or trait that you have seen, and it could be more than one, that you have seen derail most leaders' careers?
I think there are many. If I were to pick one, I think their inability to build a trusting relationships with the people around them. I think is one trait that derails them quite a bit.
Yes. Yes. Nice. Interesting. Dr. Manjinder, what is your mantra for success?
My mantra for success, which I mentioned in the earlier comment that I made, is that just keep doing hard work and persevere, stay disciplined. And I think if the process is right, product will always be right. So don't worry about that end goal. Just keep doing, just be at it. Once in a while, take a pause and deep breath and see whether you're on course or not, but just be at it. Play a long game. It just works out well in the long run.
Sure. Wonderful. What, according to you, are the people management and leadership skills that are essential for any leader?
I think some of these comments that I've already made in these points, and
Sure.
One thing is definitely build a trusting relationship with your team.
Sure.
I think that's very, very important. And the second thing, just keep observing self, because there are most of the time you will actually get a feedback, which of course people normally don't like to give critical feedback. They'll always be nice to you, but just observe body language of yourself, because sometimes we all feel that we are doing the nice thing, we're speaking the right tone, etc., but your body language speaks something else. So I think it's important for you to observe your own behavior and the impact it's having on people around you.
Right.
And I think just be very honest. At times, it's if you stay honest and give a direct feedback to your people, they genuinely respect you. Because and I actually would sum it up is that if you can come across as a person who, even if you're giving a critical feedback, but you don't mean any harm to the person.
Yes.
It's in the interest of developing your subordinates. I think it'll definitely go a long way.
Right. At the end of the day, we are dealing with humans, and just as we would feel a little hurt if somebody were to be very direct with us, even while giving feedback, I think it's the empathy to understand that at the end of the day, when we are giving feedback, positive, not so good, more developmental, if you can understand that that person has a heart, and how do you package that feedback and give it, that makes a big difference.
Yeah, I think it's all linked to the point that I made, is that if you really enjoy a trusting relationship with people,
Yes.
they trust, they have a very, very strong sort of confidence and trust in you, saying that you don't mean any harm.
Yeah.
And you genuinely are telling somebody which is in their interest, will go a long way as a leader.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Let me ask you this. What are your hobbies, Dr. Manchanda?
Yeah, I think the few things that really, which I like to do outside my work is, one is that I love hiking. I go for trekking virtually every year.
Okay.
A couple of weeks. Unfortunately, due to COVID, I've not been able to go last year and this year.
Right.
But for last many years, I've been going for hiking in Himalayas. I've done something outside India as well, in Europe.
Okay.
This is one thing which actually started during my college days, and we used to have a mountaineering club, and I used to do some hiking with that club as well. But after I went to IIM and then started working for Lever, there was a long gap.
Yeah.
Somehow, I think in early 40s, this whole hobby sort of came back again, and I've been trying to see that I spend time on hiking. Second thing is, I think I forgot to mention things that have influenced me, and I think I'm very fond of reading books, especially management books, and they just help me quite a bit, and especially learning from stories of very successful people has been amazing sort of an impact on me, and I love doing that whenever I have free time.
Right.
I also nowadays, of course, recent past, I've also started going back into history. It was not one of my favorite subjects during college days or school days, but I find history teaches you a lot of things. And given that we have now time at home and Netflix or YouTube, a lot of documentaries are there. So I love to know more about nature, more about our planet, more about history. I think it's been a fascinating sort of a thing to know, because you can learn a lot from the past.
Wonderful.
These are a few of my hobbies.
Wonderful. Any hobby that you picked up during the pandemic when you were confined to the house?
I think this is what I talked to you, that I actually watched a lot of documentaries on planet Earth, nature, as well as history.
Wonderful. It's been a wonderful cutting chai conversation, Dr. Om Prakash Manchanda, with you. Ladies and gentlemen, that was Dr. Manchanda, Managing Director, Dr. Lal PathLabs Limited. I had a wonderful time chatting with you. Yeah, I'm reminded of a couple of quotes from this conversation that we've had. One of the quotes is, "We are what we repeatedly do. Excellence then is not an act, but a habit." And through whatever you said over the last 25 minutes, I think it encompasses this quote, or this quote rather encompasses whatever your journey has been. I also like this quote from Zig Ziglar, who says that, "I don't care how much power, brilliance, or energy you have. If you don't harness it and focus it on a specific target and hold it there, you're never going to accomplish as much as your ability warrants." So, Dr. Manchanda, thank you so much once again. It was a pleasure talking to you. We wish you and Dr. Lal PathLabs and your family to the very best going forward.